Today we are making a video on Perl Linux OS 13. Here is the boot menu of Perl Linux 13, and this is to boot in a live mode, this is to boot in a failsafe, and boot it from hard disk, and these are from memory test. Let's boot it in a live mode, which is Perl Linux. Click on enter. It may take a few seconds, like a maximum of a minute or a minimum of 20 to 30 seconds. It all depends on the ISO file and your PC, and we should be having our desktop layout in a few seconds. And I forgot to mention that I'm running it on a VMware, which is a virtualization. You can run it on a VirtualBox or a VMware if you want. And my specs are like a 40 GB of hard disk and 4 GB of RAM with 2 processors running. 2 processors. I forgot and said processors instead of processor. Happens because we are still humans. Perl Linux and the logo should be complete the loading, and here is our desktop, I guess, in a few seconds. We see a black screen and a mouse pointer, and here is our mouse pointer already, which is working smoothly, and we should be having our desktop layout in a few seconds. Completely it may take like a maximum of 30 to 40 seconds. For me it took like 30 seconds. It almost looks like a MacOS, as you can see, with a dock and the almost icons, and the installer is also look like a MacOS. Let's first change the display resolution. Let's open the applications. It should be here in a, this is a MATE desktop, MATE desktop environment. We should be having our display here. Let's go to system and hardware displays, because it's a MATE desktop environment, so that's the shortcut of the display resolutions. To find the display resolutions, click on apply. We should be having our 1920 into 1080 resolution. Let's close it. The dock came here, so we need to reboot. Instead of reboot, we need to go to logout live, and we should be having our dock at the bottom. I don't know what's the username, maybe it should be like a live, and the password should be also live. Let's see how it works. Let's hope it works. Yes, the password and the username was both live, which is LIVE, all the small caps or small letters, and we have our dock at the bottom, which is, the look wise it's almost a macOS, and I love macOS, so it's good. It's my opinion. If you hate the macOS, I don't have problem. It's up to you. This is the about system info. Perl MATE 13 rolling release. Preslee, and RAM is 4 GB. Summary. Here is a summary, and here is the operating system. Linux kernel is 6.1.0. Let's close this thing and let's quickly open the system monitor, because we need to know how much resources are consumed at the beginning or the starting of the video, and we will see the system monitor again at the end, so we will have an idea of how much resources are consumed after running all the apps. Here are our resources. Let me change the color so you can look properly, and the graph is almost the CPU graph is almost up to 30%, under the 30% maximum. We should be going low at after a few seconds maybe, and the memory is almost 1.1 GB. It's a midweight Linux distro, I can call it. It's not a heavyweight or a lightweight, it's almost a midweight. 1.1 GB is normal. A lightweight of in an example like lightweight desktop environment is LXQT, which is Lubuntu, which almost uses 500 to 700 of MB, 700 MB of RAM at the beginning. which is a lightweight. So 1.1 GB should be a midweight, and a 2 GB of should be a heavyweight. In my opinion, it's my opinion, it's up to you, it's different for you. And here we have our graph, RAM and the CPU, and you need to don't care about the internet connection because it's different for everyone and it's not important. So these are two things important, the CPU and RAM, almost for every user. Let's try to change the wallpaper because it's not good for me, it's not looking good for me. Let's try to change the wallpaper if wallpapers are available. I think we have plenty of wallpapers available right here. Let's choose the trees. We love the trees, I love the trees, but the desktop wallpaper is not in a good quality. Everything is like that. Maybe low resolution wallpapers. Let's choose the animal instead of something. These are the few themes. They have like a MacOS Catalina. I think Catalina, it's instead of Catalina they use Catalina. These are few themes. There are a lot of themes here available. You can customize anything you want. Let's open the terminal and find out the info of the Linux distro. Let's type in inxi-SV8 for some info. Let's maximize this thing and let's check the info. Our host is live. It is running in a live mode. Kernel is 6.1.0-7 and it's a 64-bit OS. And the version GC's compiler GCC version is 12.2.0, and its desktop environment is MATE desktop environment, which is version 1.26.0, and LightDM version is 1.26.0 as well. Distro is Perl 13 Preslee, and WM Marco version 1.26.1, BT7DM, and BIOS Phoenix version is 6.00. RAM is 1.1 GB of 4 GB, which is 29.2% almost. And here is my CPU. Let's scroll it down. I'm running it on a VMware, so it shows VMware. VMWGFX version is 2.20.0.0, and Xorg version is 1.21.1.7. Compositor Marco version 1.26.1. Let's scroll it down. Here are some available resolutions, and OpenGL version is 4.1 and Mesa Graphics is 22.3.6. Let's again scroll it down, which is hard disk is 40 GB. And here is the process running right now, 262. Uptime is 6 minutes. Wake ups are 49. Init systemd version 252. And we still have a bash version 5.2.15, and INXI version is 3.3.25, and GCC version is 12.2.0. Let's type in few more commands, which is almost same commands. INXI. Let's type in INXI dash small b, INXI dash capital G, and hit enter. These are few info. Again, these are all the same info like the top one. It's not different, just the commands are different. Cat etc/issue etc/issue and hit enter. Perl 13 rolling release Preslee. Let's type in htop if it's pre-installed or available. Command not found, no problem. Let's exit this thing by clicking enter. I think I need to show you their website and how to download the Perl Linux OS from their website. Here we have a Mozilla Firefox web browser. I don't know why it opened in 2 times. I just clicked once, no problem. Let's check the version before I'm going to show you website later. First let's see the version, which is 102.9, which is almost 8 points older. The latest version is 111, I guess, and we have 102.9 here. And this is their official website, you can see here, which is https://perlinux.net. You can directly type it in. Let's first maximize this thing, and this is their official website. These are some info. If you want, you can read it. And let's go to downloads. If you want, you can go to news, repo, forums. If you want to check all this thing, you can go with it. And we are available, the available versions or available editions are XFCE desktop environment, MATE desktop environment, and I think 2023 has just 2 versions or 2 editions. You can see here. Base is the Debian 12, which is Bookworm, and the version is 13, as you can see here. Code name is Preslee, and Arch is AMD 64-bit. Desktop is XFCE and a MATE desktop or a MATE desktop. You can choose anything you want. If you want to go with the MATE desktop environment, go with MATE. If you want to go with the XFCE, you can go with it. XFCE should be like a 4.16 or 4.18. I didn't see the version because I choose the MATE desktop environment. If you want to test it, you can test it. So let's choose the XFCE version. Click on XFCE, which will take to the SourceForge website, and here we have some info, and you can choose the downloads here. The XFCE has the most downloaded files here, like 1323, and the MATE desktop environment has just 861. I think a lot of people like the XFCE, and the file size is around 300 MB less. I don't think that matters because 300 MB is not a lot. Only if you are using a Metro connection instead of LAN connection. So here we have our XFCE downloading. Let me close this thing. Let's check the installation process now. Let's launch the installer by double clicking on it. The password should be live because we use live as a user login. And it should be same for the installer. Yes, it's same. All small letters with LIVE should be the password. And again, the same installation process or the common Linux installation style. Let's check the Calamarus installer version 3.2.61 for Perl 13 Preslee. First, you need to choose your language, which is also common and a regular thing in Linux distro, and the location next. Click on next, choose your language, and then click next. Location, you can choose any location you want by directly clicking on the map or just drop down button. You can choose like that. First you need to choose your country and then the city. Click on next. Keyboard, my keyboard is Dell, but it automatically always says generic 105 or 105 key. I'm going with it, no problem. English United States, and the default should be English. Click on next. Here we have a partition. You need to be very careful while choosing this option because it's going to erase completely like files, media, everything which is available in the hard disk or SSD. It's going to erase everything, so it's better to have an idea of what you're doing here and be careful what you're doing here. I think I'm going to choose RS disk. You can choose any option you want. We have also a manual partitioning. This is a single boot for single boot, and this is for dual boot. You can resize your partition or do anything you want, and you should be having some idea or some info about manual partitioning also, because you need to resize or edit the partitions. And this is the option for the encrypting your system, like give the same password, confirm, and your ISO file or the Linux will be encrypted. Available for hard disk of VMware was 40 GB, so it's going to show 40 GB. And this is the bootloader. It automatically chooses master bootloader record. It's better option. If you want to install it later, you can install it, and you can choose anywhere you want to install the bootloader. You can choose it. Click on next. It's going to give you a username password. You need to provide the username password. I'm going to choose, you can choose any name you want. You don't need to put your actual name there. You can go with any names. You need to repeat the password. I'm going with a simple password because I'm running it just for video, so I'm going with a simple password. You need to always put the strong passwords, and you need to remember or write it down in the book or diary if you want, because if you forget, it's a pain. Again, to do all the things, it's better to write it down or put in the password you remember. So click on next. If everything works good, the right option will be available here, as you can see, with a highlighted green. If it's wrong, then it's going to have a wrong sign, and with a red option, as you can see, I'll show you like this. There should be like a tick mark all with all these things completed. Click on next, and here is the summary of what you've done in the past for the installation, like choosing your location, languages, keyboard, all these things, and your partitioning, hard disk, and what happens after the clicking install button will be available here, like a description or a summary available here, like what will happen to your hard disk. Here is a 40 GB, all these things. After clicking install, it may take a few seconds, and not few seconds, it's going to take a few minutes. After that, it's going to finish, and if you need to reboot, and the hard disk and the PerlLinux OS 13 should be installed in your hard disk. First, you always try it for a few hours by running in a live mode. If you are satisfied with the Linux distro, go with the installation. It's always better idea to use it in a live mode instead of directly going in a installation. I think that's the installation process. Let's see what are all the apps comes pre-installed. Here are all the pre-installed apps which comes with PerlLinux OS 13. As you can see, on the accessories you have everything. This is the graphics. On the internet you have some apps, Office, almost good apps, programming, sound and video. I think they are providing everything. That's good. And universal access, places, which is home directory, system, which is a MATE desktop environment, so everything will be same as a MATE desktop environment. About MATE, we should be 1.26.0. Let's close this thing and check a few more apps. These are all the reboot, shutdown, logout, all these things, you already know that. Let's try to open what we have here is about PerlLinux OS. Here we have some info, as you can see. Let's close down, and here is our dock. I think this is a light pad, means maybe we get a, oh, this is the thing we get, like a launch pad in the macOS. It's a light pad. I think they almost what you say, it's not a copy, but it almost made it look like on a macOS. I think this is the people who want to switch from a macOS to Linux distro. Maybe this should be a good option. This is just my opinion. It's a different opinion for someone. It was just my opinion. Almost good. These are some apps. Control center. Again, MATE desktop environment, because the same desktop is available here, so the options also will be same, as you can see here. Let's close this thing. I think we covered everything, I guess. Let's open applications and see what are the options. Let's check the versions of the applications. This is the dock. As you can see, they almost have the icon of a Safari browser. What happened with the applications? We tried to open the applications. Is it available or not? This is a GIMP. Let's try to open few apps, just the important apps, not everything, because they have a lot of apps. Let's check GIMP, because GIMP is used by a lot of people. Inkscape. Let's try to open most of the apps at one time. I think we don't need this. Internet, we've already checked the Firefox browser. Thunderbird mail, let's open that too. On the sound and video, we have also VLC media player. We need to check the info of that too. These are some not important apps. I think that's it. Let's check this apps version, because they are all the important apps which are used regularly. The version is 102.9.0 64-bit. Let's close this thing. And VLC media player, can't check the version, no problem, let's close it. And this is Inkscape. Let's save it. Let's try to check the version. Inkscape 1.2. Let's open the Inkscape properly and check the version. I think 1.2 is the version, I guess. Let's close this thing. And the GIMP should be 2.10.34. Yeah, that should be the version of GIMP. We can't see that help about. I can't see that option here. Can't check the version. Let's check the about panels, which should be 1.27.0. Let's close this thing. I don't know they have like an app store or not. This is not an app store, it's just applications, but it's not even opening there. Let's try to find the app store. App store is not available here, I already know. Let's try to find if there is hidden somewhere. Software manager, I think this should be the app store. It's going to take a lot of time, because MATE desktop environment always takes a lot of time to open this thing. These are some update manager, synaptic package manager. The password is live, LIVE, in small letters. And here is the synaptic manager. It's loading. Let's check the version, 0.91.3. Let's try to scroll it down, drag it down, and let me scroll it fast. If you want to slow it down, you can go into YouTube settings and check change the speed to 0.25, and you should be seeing all these things. Let me close this thing. It's going to take an ages. It's better to close it. If you want, you can test it on your own. Let's check the system monitor now. I think we opened a lot of apps, like 4 to 5 apps. That's all we want to test it. It's 1.6 GB. At the beginning of the video it was like 1.1 GB. It's almost 500 MB more now, and the CPU is running good. Nothing high peak here in the graph. If you want to check the RAM, you can put it in the starting of the video and the ending of the video, like side by side, and check on your own. I already remember it was like 1.1 GB. Now it's 1.6 GB, just for 3 to 4 apps and some system info and some system settings, all this thing. It took just 500 MB. In my opinion, it's good. 1.6 GB is not for it's almost like a 2 GB. I think the people who have 2 GB of RAM, it's hard, I guess. It's better to test it in a live mode and see if it's not laggy. You can use it. If it's laggy, then it's better to choose like a lightweight desktop environment like lightweight Linux distros. I already made a lot of videos on Linux, lightweight Linux. You can check my channel if you want. Let's end this video by going to my channel. This part is only for the viewers who want to watch my content without subscribing. People who already subscribed, you need to just skip it because it's not important for you. Because you already subscribed, you don't need to know all these things. If you want to watch my content without subscribing, just type in youtube.com//9to5linux. No need to feel bad, it's up to you. If you want to subscribe, it's up to you. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you, no problem. And I don't have any hate on you. You can do anything you want. This is the URL. You need to put it in your browser, in a TV or mobile or a tab. If you have an YouTube app, you can just type it in 9to5linux in your YouTube app. It will take directly to my channel. Let's click on enter, and my channel should be available in a few seconds. It's taking a few seconds because I am using a VPN. Here is my channel. If you want to search a specific Linux distro or a specific term, you can type it in here, like example MX-Linux or a Zorin OS, anything you want. Here you will be having a latest videos or the latest release of the Linux distro, because I'll make as soon as they release and as soon as the ISO file is available, I'll make a content on it. If you are here for the only Linux content, just go to the playlist and you should check the Linux, and under Linux you need to go to the view full playlist, and you should be available with Linux videos. I almost made 1538 videos on only Linux distros. I almost covered every Linux distros which are available in this world. Almost like 70 to 80% I covered everything, like a discontinued Linux distros to latest new Linux distros. I covered everything. If you want play all or shuffle, you do anything you want. And here I have some info, like I will be posting 2 videos daily, so I mentioned that without missing any day. I don't miss any day. I'm posting from 2018 without missing any day. I missed just like 1 or 2 days in 2 or 3 years. I covered I made a lot of videos, like I crossed like 2000 videos almost. That's the reason, because I don't miss any day. These are the timings. If you want to watch my content, just you need to visit at this timing, and you will be always the videos will be always available before the timings, because I put it in a premiere mode or a premiere. So you should be having an info of what the Linux distros will be available at that day. So that's it, I think. Let's end this video. I think let's shut down. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out. And I already made another video because I make 2 videos. Today's another video is also Rosa Linux, which will be available in a few seconds. I already made it, so you should be watching that too if you want, or you can just watch this video and end it, no problem. It's clearly up to you. Again, thanks for watching. Bye.